Hello everyone! While I mainly play Genshin Impact and of course make content around it, Genshin isn't actually the only game I consistently play. I do play other gacha games, including the other Hoyoverse made ones, and the one main secondary game that I play and enjoy the most is Zenless Zone Zero. I've played the game daily since its initial launch and have continually kept up with it, clearing all the events, watching all the story, and managing to full clear all the endgame content while being free to play since I enjoy the challenge. So when Zenless Zone Zero approached me to make a video about the recent release of their big version 3.0 update, which introduces a brand new story with new characters, locations, and abilities, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to talk about why now is one of the best times to either start playing the game if you never tried it before, or get back into the game if you stepped away from it previously. Zenless Zone Zero has gone through a lot of changes since its surprisingly relatively short existence as a game. At the start of its Season 1 patches, the story and vibe of the game was more down to earth and a little homey, as the focus was about proxy life with Wise and Bell in New Eridu, doing tasks for various factions and guiding them through hollows with their Bangbu Eos while trying to be discreet because of their occupation. This was definitely a time where the game itself was trying to forge its own identity, as there were a ton of directional changes such as the old TV gameplay. Then, for the Season 2 patches, the game's entire scope and story stakes were broadened. The proxies ventured into a new region, Waifei Peninsula, training under Yishuan Shifu to develop their own powers, while also addressing the threat of a major antagonist organization, the Exaltus. So, a much bigger and more ambitious narrative with a lot of connecting parts that was much different compared to the Season 1 patches. And ultimately, some people liked this new direction of the game and story, but some people didn't and became much less interested in the game. So with the start and release of Season 3 with patch 3.0, the developers both listened to and incorporated a lot of player feedback to create a brand new and fresh experience, both in terms of gameplay and especially the story and its narrative direction. Now, for the people who want to start playing Zenless Zone Zero for the first time, or for the people who want to get back into the game after taking a long break, one of the biggest hurdles they have to go through to actually start and enjoy playing the exciting brand new content is having to play through all of the old content, such as all the old story, first in order to access all the new content. This is a very common problem for a ton of games, not just gacha games, and is especially a problem for older games that have a lot more old content that is necessary to do first before you can access all the newer content. And even if a person manages to rush through all the story, for instance, they may not get all the important narrative context that is expanded upon and forms the basis of all the newest story content. Fortunately, Zenless Zone Zero has a special story skip feature that addresses all these issues of players struggling to catch up to the new content, and it allows any player an easy way to access all the new content in patch 3.0 smoothly and quickly. In order to unlock the game's story skip feature, you simply just need to complete Chapter 1 of Season 1. If you are a new player to the game, this is pretty easy to do and doesn't take a lot of time. And if you are a returning player to Zenless Zone Zero, you probably already have done the story chapter. Once you've met this story requirement, when you're actually in the game, select the film icon located at the top right of your screen to access the event tab. From here, scroll through the events tab on the left until you see Faith in Story. And as you can see here, this is the event page for the Season 3 main story. Now on my account, since I've already started the Season 3 main story quest, there is just a go button on the bottom right and there isn't a story skip button. But if you haven't started the story quest yet, you'll see this screen instead with an unlock early button on the bottom right. Once you select this button, you'll get a very brief plot summary on the important background context on the events leading up to the start of the Season 3 story, along with short descriptions of the newest key characters involved in the new story. There is even a short story recap video you can watch that covers the main highlights of the previous story leading up to patch 3.0. So with all these concise plot summaries, any player is able to freshly start Season 3 without having to worry about being completely lost with what is happening in the story. And they can go immediately into the newest patch and don't have to worry about doing a bunch of older content before being able to do so. Now, this story skip feature doesn't just work for patch 3.0, which is Chapter 1 of Season 3. You can also choose to start the story from patch 2.0, which is Season 2 Chapter 1, and patch 2.5, which is Season 2 Chapter 6. Obviously, for both new and returning players, I heavily recommend starting with Season 3 Chapter 1 immediately since it's the newest content, but you don't have to worry about losing any of the older content because you can access and do all the older story chapters whenever you want to. All you have to do is go to your menu screen and and then select the Internaut menu to access your quest list. Here you can click through all the different story quests and track whichever one you want to do, being able to freely access and switch between different quests. On top of that, Zenless Zone Zero has its own video archive, which allows you to view all old story dialogue and cutscenes whenever you want. Thus, any player can do the story quests at their own pace, allowing you to freely start the newest content immediately without repercussions. Season 3 story is exciting because it acts as a fresh start for the game. The newest plot occurs in the city of Roskillifer, also known as the floating city among the skies, as the city is on a floating island, with its existence being hidden to most people in New Eridu. Roskillifer is intended to be a Bangbu utopia, as its overall population is uniquely made up of 60% Bangbu, with them actually being fully recognized citizens like humans and intelligent constructs. I would say that Bangbu are widely considered the mascot of the game, as they are very silly and cute, so it's awesome to see a ton of them in the city, both small and big Bangbu doing their own thing. The world of Roskillifer is quite impressive to look at and experience while playing the game, as it has a ton of outstanding architecture among the floating islands, a lot of flying buses moving around to maintain that atmosphere of yes, we are in a city in the middle of the clouds, and a ton of unique NPC designs populating and roaming the city, which is something Zenless Zone Zero has always excelled at. And all these aspects make Roskillifer feel more alive while playing it, as there are always new interactions you can see or experience yourself while roaming its streets. In terms of Season 3's overall narrative while in the city of Roskillifer, to me there are two main key plots. First is the relationship between the two first-generation Void Hunters, Lady Sunbringer, the ruler of Roskillifer, and Remiel Dan, who allegedly tried to assassinate her and is considered a fugitive of Roskillifer. But because of their previous history together, there is definitely some missing context into what actually happened and the motives of the two Void Hunters. And second is the awakening of the proxy's powers. Phaethon was brought to Roskillifer for some important treatment to their body, and eventually, Phaethon confronts their inner self and activates their Pyrois form, making them extremely potent in battle. But the full details behind why we are able to have this awakening is a key mystery. But of course, I don't want to go through all of the details of the current Season 3 story. If you want the answers to these unknowns, you'll have to play through the main story yourself. And lastly, the final aspect I wanted to highlight about Zenless Zone Zero that keeps me playing the game daily is its combat. Zenless Zone Zero's gameplay centers around a fast-paced action combat system that allows for a lot of skill expression. You can freely swap between the three characters on your team, dodge or parry enemy attacks, and have to play around enemy mechanics in order to perform the best team combos to maximize your damage. I'll be honest, I'm not very good at the combat, but I still enjoy it a lot since it's so unique and engaging, and I'm always amazed of what higher skilled players can do with their own teams. And there are a ton of different characters that have very unique kits, enabling a ton of different gameplay styles. For instance, Patch 3.0 has 3 new characters. First, there's Pyrois, who I've mentioned plays a key role in the story for the proxies, and they are a DPS character available for free by playing through the 3.0 story, along with their gear and upgrades, as you can get their W engine and Mindscapes for free, which is their weapon and constellations. Second, there's Valina, the administrative director of Roskillifer's external strategy department, who introduces the new wind element into the game, allowing her to enable a bunch of new team comps for existing characters. And third, there's Norma, the chief technology officer of Roskillifer's external strategy department, who is a fairly general stunner character that is able to support a wide variety of teams. And in Zenless Zone Zero's upcoming patch, Patch 3.1, there will be 2 more new characters: Sigrid, the deputy administrative director of Roskillifer's airspace patrol department, and Remiel, the first generation Void Hunter, integral to the Season 3 story that a lot of people are hyped about. So if you are interested in what the brand new Season 3 of Zenless Zone Zero has to offer, I highly recommend trying it out and experiencing it yourself for free, which you can do by using the download link both in the description and the comments below. Thank you again to Zenless Zone Zero for sponsoring this video, and with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day.